Not sure. You're trying to take a look. Thank you, I appreciate that. We're already, no, actually, we're not good. You can pick. I can do it. No, yes, I was trying to. It's not working. Yeah. How you guys?
Mark, like in the morning, like customer day or whatever, you clean up.
I don't know. Okay. All right, we'll get started. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And before I make the same mistake I've made every single month, is that I'd like to introduce some of the other folks that were here with us today. On my left is City Manager Jimmy Forbes. On my right is Assistant City Manager Bryce Atkins. Came in very early this morning, so thank you very much for doing that. Councilmember Dion Bracco, Councilmember Terrence Fugazzi. Love having you guys here. You guys aren't just hearing from me, you're hearing from others on council as well, which I think is very important. So thank you, everybody, for coming. I'll just start off with a couple updates. Something that the city put together a while back and is now out working is called Gilroy Connect. That's something that you can find on your telephone, an application on your telephone that allows you to see something that you think needs to be fixed in Gilroy. And the nickname is See, Click, and Fix. So if you haven't had a chance to use it, take a look at it. Honestly, I say this with true honesty, is I'm not really into apps and tech savvy, and this is super simple. It really is 3 or 4 steps. So if you're in the park and you see something, a broken sprinkler, you click it. It has geolocation. Thank you, every month. Geolocation, so you don't have to put addresses or anything. It says exactly where you're standing. If you care to do a picture, you comment. And in a very short time, hopefully you get a comment back from somebody at City Hall says we got it and we're working on it, and then you get to track it until it's completed, hopefully. So for those of you who have ever been in the business of trying to be involved and report issues around town, I think you're going to find that this is a great experience compared to what it was in the past. Sometimes it was a little bit harder to find out if you even got your comment in and then to be able to track it. So now tracking is very nice. Last month in my spotlight, I wrote about kind of what's coming up this summer. So we have the recreation services in Gilroy. So those are some of the things that will be kicking off this summer. We have the swimming program, and we have a wide variety of recreation programs for kids. Some of them are done by own City of Gilroy folks. A lot of them are done by outside contractors, but they are routed through the City of Gilroy Recreation Administration Department to help get kids signed up. There are things, if you can think of it, it seems like there's a camp, right? Whether it's robotics or ninja or wrestling, there's something for everybody. Not just kids, there's things for adults and seniors and adaptive as well. So if anybody's interested in that, please look at the catalog or look online. The other thing that I wrote about, what happens in the summers typically, and we've seen a lot of it the past few summers, is road maintenance in Gilroy, which I know we've talked about in this group more than once, something that's highly needed. And about mid-June, so just in a few weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks, we'll be kicking off the road maintenance season, right? And if you're wondering why I'm saying season, it's usually set up around school, right? So they don't want to interrupt so much traffic around town with school buses and parents and stuff going to school. So you'll see a big push of road maintenance starting in the middle of June, and that'll go the entire summer. The other thing that we talked about in this last meeting was, once we started talking about road maintenance, we started talking about sidewalk maintenance, right? So that list is put together. That comes to council not on Monday, but in a few weeks on the 19th. And hopefully we'll be moving forward with the next round of sidewalk repair and maintenance. What I mentioned to everybody last time, what we're doing differently these days in the past was really driven by the homeowner. If you had sidewalks, you know, you'd have to do application in city, you'd get the contractor, there'd be a shared cost. That's been sort of flip-flopped into
cities actually take control.
Yeah, right, yeah, there's still input and need from the homeowner, but it's compartmentalized. I mean, we're putting volumizing it, so now there's one contractor for maybe 10 or 15 or 20 sections of sidewalk ran through the city instead of 10 or 15 or 20 contractors doing 10 or 15 different jobs with 10 or 15 different inspectors and some inconsistency in work. So,
And for those on fixed income or lower income, there's also assistance available as well, right, Greg?
thank you, yeah. Yeah, so, and which can be found online.
Yeah, it's on our website.
What
Much better deal.
What council member feels like, Councilmember Fugazi said, for folks on fixed income or limited income, there is assistance that you can find on the website. So, those are some of the updates. One of them, I'm going to talk about your proud moment from this morning. We have, so in the name of expenses and in the name of safety, of course, and in the name of our community being able to have you know, a lot of activities in our downtown area, whether it's downtown or anywhere else. Staff brought to council a system, you know, it's a barrier system that helps to keep these certain areas of town safe. But I would like City Manager Corbett to explain a little bit more, but today's the first day.
Right, so we have our first event kind of the season, and that's the Heart of Gilroy, which is the Art and Wine Stroll, and you will see white barricades instead of used for fire trucks, A-frames, which used to drive me nuts, things like that. And so we went to council in January. Like one of the first things they were asked to do for about $500,000, which is a big ask. But the council approved it. And if you hear about these events like in New Orleans and what was the one? Vancouver just had one. These people drive right through and they knock out everybody. So you're gonna see these white things that if they are hit by a vehicle, they ram up into the vehicle, they disable it. And it cuts our labor down by about 90% to have stuff out there. So I was really happy this morning to see that they're up and ready to go. And the other thing that we're doing is that for any event downtown, the person who's putting on the event has a choice of 3 or 4 setups. And we've already been asked to deviate from the setup, and we said no. We have 3 or 4 of them. You make it work. We'll do the barricades for you. And so that way we'll save our nonprofits a lot of money and time. And I will feel a lot safer down there than I have in the past. So really excited to see it up.
Good job.
One more thing on the calendar, if I can mention, is May 17th is National River Cleanup Day. And the city's assisting in a cleanup down at Christmas Hill Park on the ranch side. So anybody wants to join and do that, help clean up. I do a lot of those events, and there's a lot of trash out there, a lot of stuff that piles up, and could always use the help to keep that whole beautiful area that we have for the rest of the city nice and clean.
You guys catch that back there? May 17th, National River Cleanup Day.
Also,
City participating.
on the 17th, the library at 10 a.m. will be dedicating their new children's area. They're redoing it all right now. It's pretty awesome. What we're doing over there. So, check it out.
Yeah.
So, I noticed that, you know, we moved the annual car show to the, Gilroy Park. Was that a result of the safety issue as well?
I don't believe
Chamber of
it's Chamber of Commerce. It's a Chamber of Commerce event. It's not a City of Gilroy event. It's a Chamber of Commerce event.
Lack of volunteers to kind of scale
It's
it
a
back.
big event, yeah. I think that that was a product of their own success of the move. Got so big, and that's kind of what I've heard about. But that's a Chamber of Commerce event. Great question. But I'm sorry, I don't have a direct answer. Any other questions about what's going on Gilroy? Yeah,
What's the status on the Glen Fire Station?
yeah.
There's the status. Oh yeah, it's a good status. We will be coming to the city council probably at the beginning of June to ask them to award a design build contract. We are going to do the design build process. This will be the first actual project we've got started. The Shark's Ice would be the other one, but we haven't started that one yet. So we will go through design, and I think we'll probably break ground in the fall or the winter, depending on what we get from contractor, but this is an unusual project for us because we have the money. Which we're not used to, so we're a little confused in some ways, but we have $13 million. It's good to go. We're on our way.
Jim, we might have something to say about this too. As you know, we're in the middle of discussing or deciding whether Gilroy wants to do a CAL FIRE or county fire. And do you have a status on that?
Yeah, we're not discussing that yet. It may be something that, it's something that previous councils have actually been through a couple of times. The last council wanted to look at that going forward, so as part of the strategic planning and the budget adoption, that may be a work plan item that we look at the long-term viability of our own fire department. But I would say the caveat to that is that there's 100 different ways to provide fire service, and it's not just CAL FIRE, it's not just county, it could be regional efforts. So I think it would be good for our community to really go through that process and understand the costs.
The
And
decision is that.
oh, no, we haven't even started down that path.
So, yeah, go ahead, Bill.
Well, if you, the last one of these meetings, the question came up about the soil samples down on the sports park. Any update on that?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll start with it, and then maybe Jimmy will jump in. We did get some soils information back, and so far that's been good, good news. Right, so we did the fears that we had about a giant export of soil, which would be very, very expensive. So that's the good news, right? The next step is, right, which happens all the time, what's the cost to build in the world that we live in today? And it's hard to imagine the little bit of the background that I have in construction and to see the world that we live in today with potential tariffs and the economy that we live in today, with a building that's made of steel, with a building that has miles of pipe running through it, that's typically imported from other countries, not China. I believe a lot of galvanized pipe comes from Mexico. So that could be a big chance, but especially this is special, right? These are big pipes. It's hard to imagine for me that we will not face headwinds on the next step, which is what the cost of build. Right. Now that is my personal opinion. I'm speaking as one from up here, but I don't think it's an unusual, an outrageous opinion. So that's the next step.
Yeah, soil's good, which is great. It was good enough to farm, but we were concerned it was not good enough to put a building on top of. Still don't understand that very much, but you're absolutely right. We have no clue what this is going to cost. We used to, and we have a professional estimator who takes into consideration all these things and tariffs and whatever. So we're going to get a number, and then we're going to have to start figuring out how this is going to work. So that's where we're at.
Was there any issue? I guess there is no issue, but one of the issues at the beginning was the level of the underwater
Water table?
water table. That's not an issue.
Yeah,
I've never been down. Yeah. Best of my knowledge, high water tables in Gilroy are on the southeast side and not on this side. I could be wrong about that particular area. It's odd. What I've learned is you think that there's a river, there's high water table.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the opposite.
I think what he's talking about is that it's an area of flood.
Floodplain.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Well, thank you.
I do have an answer to
Yeah.
that.
Thank you. Great
So
question.
one of the challenges of any time you do a project that has numerous stages. So the sports bike has 9 stages, 9 phases. So we're in phase 3. And somewhere along the line, you have to put in a 90-inch wide culvert through the property to get all that water from those houses and everything. And so you have to decide when you're going to do it. And you don't want to do it. It's expensive. And so it makes a lot of sense to do it as part of this project. And that's what I've got to work with the council to say, look, if we want to develop the other 6 stages, we may have to do this investment now, even though it's going to be painful financially. Otherwise, the whole rest of the area is going to be burdened with that. So let's say you want to put a soccer field in a stage 4, a couple of them, not that expensive, it can be done, but then you've got to put $5 million culvert in to do it.
And then later on, it's going to be more expensive.
Exactly. So I really want to talk long-term sports park planning with the council and see, how we can get this facility ready for the rest of the stages, even if it might hurt financially now.
It would hurt financially.
Later.
Yeah, it's all gonna hurt.
Yeah, in fact,
Last month, you mentioned the Amazon data center that's being built here, it will be built here.
Yeah.
I was wondering about the environmental consequences of it in terms of electricity, water, what concessions might have been done in order to have it built here or not.
sure. So just in case you guys didn't hear over there, she's asking about the Amazon data center and asked about some environmental consequences from that project. I'm gonna ask for some help on that, if you don't mind.
Yes, that's what we've been spending the majority of time working on in this project. There are batteries there. It's not a lot of batteries, so you need certain fire systems, you need certain things like that. But I'll tell you a little bit of the community benefit that Amazon is willing to do. One, they're really trying to put in recycled water and get that from the wastewater treatment plant. So that will help with our water supply, and that's their first goal. The second, that they have offered a community benefit amount. And so we have never had a facility like this in town, which means we don't really have the public safety equipment to handle an issue out there. So they're going to contribute to us purchasing another fire engine that could handle some of these things. So that's where they're at. I think last time Tom told me afterwards, I switched the locations. The data center is behind where the new floor and decor back there. I had them switched. And so, yeah, the environmental is the biggest work right now, and I think we're getting closer and closer, but they've been very good partners. Well, they've got some money in the bank, so it's not a problem for them.
Did you hear his comment about the location? Yeah.
You know, during some summers, we have those rolling blackouts, will they also be affected? I assume that they have backup batteries.
They're gonna have. Yeah, I can't really speak to that. You are right, they will have some kind of backup. We have backup generators here. But they have to be California Air Resource Board compliant. So there's a lot of rules with generators, and so they'll have to follow them.
No different than the hospital.
Yeah, but it was a little different. You're talking about people in the middle of surgery or something, and yeah, you definitely.
I don't disagree. But the fact is, even if we had rolling backouts, or if we had, what is it, 20 hours in the summer? I think that's my point, is that I don't foresee a lot of diesel generators running from this project. I think if you're thinking environmental consequences, those other environmental consequences other than potential diesel generator run occasionally. But they're great questions.
Yeah, but I understand that they have to check the generators once a month to be sure. They usually do that.
Yeah, we do that.
Or the really lower stuff.
Yeah.
Just this Amazon data center gonna have the tax base, I mean, are they gonna be paying taxes?
Yeah, it's on the property.
Not a lot. Some property tax, which we only get 60% of the property tax, but there will be any sales tax. There will be, I don't know, what they say, like 15, 20 jobs, so very few employees. It's just really a data center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll give us more than the dirt does.
Yeah, Tom.
You know where that project stands in the planning process?
Yeah, it's in the environmental work right now. They have their building built and they have all that done. So like I just kind of mentioned, they are considering building a reservoir tank for the recycled water. That's going to be expensive. We talked about the batteries and just the environmental with that. So I think we're getting closer. But I'll be honest with you, it's not that exciting of a project. It's just not, I mean, like you just said, it's better than just having dirt there, but if you have data, if you have a lot of stuff on Amazon Web Services, it is not gonna get your package or any faster. That's what I'm saying.
What about what is the expected revenue to the city for this industry?
Oh, for this building?
No, for the.
Like the
It
impact.
doesn't factor it. We don't, it's
Not impacts.
de minimis.
Are we gonna get adequate, significant money from Bezos or from Amazon for our general from this?
No, that's what you talk about, the community benefit.
They've been doing a lot for the community.
Okay.
Hopefully there, I mean, as we all acknowledge, there's no sales tax out of it, and that's from strong economic development, that's what we're after.
Yeah.
Right, there's no sales tax out of it, so hopefully, by being involved in the community, we are gonna see some benefit. There is a community benefit with the, agreement that's being worked out regarding fire apparatuses that are.
And you might have better internet backbone that's coming in the city that ultimately can be used from, because they'll need it to run whatever they're running, and they'll have co-location of probably some services and websites that use it also will be speedier. I mean, there's all kinds of little ancillary benefits that you get out of having a data center in a smaller town that you don't always see.
Just to get that, treat it like a warehouse. We don't get much from them, but we need them. I mean, we need that stuff.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm very concerned right now. I know that it is not exciting project, but there's a lot of consequences on a data center like that, so I would definitely put a lot of focus on that, because it's gonna be very impactful, so I just wanna encourage the city of Gilroy to really take a look into that. Because there's gonna be a lot of issues. I mean, it's just. Yeah, I don't know, I just felt like something, I have to say it, like, this is gonna be very impactful. So, I know it's boring, but we have to go over Boring's job to get to the goal. And I just really wanna encourage, I love technology, but I love people more. So I think that, I don't know, I want to encourage you all, I need to do some research on that, there's some, water, yeah, they're gonna take a lot of water, and I know the location is gonna be around fields. So we produce food around those fields, so it's just, I don't know, I just feel like, maybe we need a little more attention on the details. Of course, Amazon is gonna be quiet. Of course, Amazon is not gonna be giving you the details because they want the benefits. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm doing some studies of that, so I'm a little bit concerned. And yeah, it's important. So,
Thank you.
Quite long.
Thank you. Must be more.
Well, we've been talking a lot about water.
Yeah.
And we sit huge underwater, absolutely huge. And a friend of mine who served on the water board at the time, he told me that there's enough water in our waters that we wouldn't run out of, we would have enough water for 5 years minimum. So worried about access to water in our situation, probably not something we should do.
I don't know if every farmer would agree with that.
It has to be recharged.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
If we look back in history, in the early 1900s, San Jose sunk because they had taken all the water out.
That's right, he's so sick.
As have many areas in the valley currently, not in the 1900s, because
And
of
we did.
drawdown.
During a drought, you have to.
Yeah, so we have to be careful.
Sources.
And that's why, as Councilmember Fugazi said, and City Manager Forbes said, that Amazon is looking at our recycled water. We have a great facility in Gilroy
Yeah.
that has recycled water.
We have new plumbing going in that direction.
Very
that our plant is doing that we just discussed with the meetings.
Yeah.
And part of that is to facilitate other businesses, like Amazon, but also for irrigation and other things in the city. So, we are in a really good, I just went to the other open house thing that they did. And it was kind of eye-opening to me how much better of a situation we are in down here with our own plant, with our recycled water, and with the rates that we have on water, and all of these things. It's pretty eye-opening to see how good we have it compared to people up north, paying 3-4 times for water, don't have recycled water available, don't have.
Not even close.
It's not
Not even close. Did everybody kind of catch up? We started talking about recycled water, and out of Gilroy, right, we have the South County Regional Wastewater Authority, and it produces millions and millions and millions of recycled water per day. And that's the purple pipe. things that you see around town, you see in the park. And last year, a year and a half ago, that pipeline got extended, 3-foot pipeline across the south side of Gilroy to connect to the west side of Gilroy. The purple pipe makes it as far as behind Target, Gilroy Foods.
Oh, that way.
Behind Target, so it goes to the river before Gilroy Gardens. It goes to, people know where Target is. You know, out on that side of town, it goes over there, so it's making its way across town. So it's a very valuable resource to Gilroy. It helps with development and things like that, because we're using recycled water, not regular water.
We used to just dump it into the ponds and let it go back down into the dock. Or if it got really bad, we could pump it out into the creek. Well, now we recycle it. We don't do any of that unless we have to.
It's a resource now, almost a commodity.
Yeah,
That's how important it is. Yeah. And just for people to know, when customers purchase recycled water, they pay for it. It's not now just because it's recycled water, free water, it's paid for, but it's costs go into it. There's no doubt about it.
What areas are being used for watering with recycled water?
Farmlands out there.
Some farmlands, you can use recycled water for non-spray irrigation. It has to be drip or flood. It can't be sprayed.
Third Street.
Christmas Hill, the Glen Loma area, is that been connected, tied in?
Eagle Ridge Golf Course.
Yeah, it's all, yeah, Eagle Ridge. Gavilan, excuse me, Gilroy Golf Course, yeah, and
Third Street Dog Park area is all.
yeah, all of Third Street, the big food distribution center, UNFI, behind Target, they are under recycled water. Yeah.
If you see purple pipes, especially.
Purple
that's-
box, yeah, purple box.
Stuff like that, that's all recycled water access.
Sorry, Bill.
No, that's okay. Last,
Yes, non-potable.
Don't drink it.
last month, one of the people here asked about the, road maintenance, getting off the freeway coming north at Monterey, the road is just really messed up.
Yeah.
And we were told that, Monterey is going to be worked on. But when you look at the city map, for the plans show from basically the entrance to the sports park north on Monterey. And then the following year, south going down Bolsa Road, but from the freeway off ramp up to the sports park is not identified as any road maintenance going to be done. And that's probably the worst area altogether.
Yeah,
Is that county or city?
It's Caltrans.
I'm not gonna get into a debate, because I definitely could be wrong, but I thought the map that I read, same one you did, that partial, because it is, the part that is City of Gilroy goes as far as it possibly can. The moment it comes Caltrans, that's where it's Caltrans, and we need to pressure them to do their part. But that Monterey Road stretch, just a little extra information, I believe goes 8th Street all the way to the sports park. And just, I thought we got even part of it past the overpass. It's just under the overpass is Caltrans. So I'm hopeful that you're partially wrong this time. I'm hopeful. So I will follow up on that. But really what we need to do,
Now that is in the city, though, right? Is this in the city?
the city part is just past under the overpass is Caltrans. Even though the street looks like it's ours, it's Caltrans. And that's what would be unfortunate if we went stop for 200 feet. That would, hopefully that we could figure out a way to get around.
Did you say they're drained this year?
26, which is in just a couple months.
Well, I gotta
Yes, sir.
say, Jim did a good job getting Caltrans to clean up the railroad area. Maybe he can get.
That was Union Civic.
Oh, no, maybe.
More basically Union Pacific.
Same bureaucracy, same bureaucracy, he'll agree with that.
Government.
Yeah.
I will say that for the most part, we have good partners. They've done a lot better paying attention to us, but that's because we've been louder. And they do have situations where they'll let us go ahead and pave it, and they'll reimburse us for that section. So I think there'll be opportunity there to do that.
Great, one
Yes.
more, because
Yes.
I talked to Jimmy about this a little earlier, having looked at that map.
Yeah.
It shows 2026 is when that portion is going to be fixed, but actually he was saying, Jimmy was saying, that, it's going to be done this year. You might want to you know, and that's because it's a fiscal year.
Yeah,
Rather than that.
Yeah.
You might want, when you're going out to all of the citizens and that kind of thing, to identify it as a fiscal year rather than.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
People don't get that.
Yeah, 26 feels like January, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that work will begin mid-June. Good point. Yeah, yes, sir.
Question, what were the doorway outlets? There's a strip there, right? It's where Denny's is. And I think I was 50, first there might be two.
Yeah.
Was there some kind of future development slated for that area?
Yeah, that portion of the outlets, what we used to call the Gilroy Premium Outlet, that sliver. So just in case, sorry, just north of Denny's, right? If you go by Denny's on your way to Home Depot, there's a slice of a strip of outlets that was connected and owned by the rest of Gilroy Premium Outlets. That company sold off that piece. And that's why you're starting to see consolidation. They're moving folks over to other stores. I don't know if every single one has moved over, and they're down to one or two.
Yeah.
If you drive by it.
Yeah,
Is it North Face? They're down to two.
It's in Columbia.
Yeah.
And they're not maintaining it at all.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah. Yeah, they're not maintaining the property at all.
But we don't know what the plan is for that.
No. Private ownership.
The rumor, if you want to start rumors, has been indoor skydiving. Interesting.
Can we make them?
So they got planes here?
Yeah, it's great point because they have not, they have, it's like they have ownership and nobody showed up. The reason was fault.
Is there indoor skydiving further down at the end of the outlets too already?
That's a jump zone. Oh, yeah. Different, young kids, skydiving, old kids.
Question about the trail out of Third. And the fencing over there.
Yeah.
One of those are, they're concrete, they're like breaking down.
Sorry.
Is that city?
Can I encourage you to go to the new app?
Yeah, I just didn't know if that's the.
I didn't hear where the property.
Yeah, sorry, out on Third Street, in the green zone in between the residences and the trail.
The trail.
There's the concrete split rail fences and some of them,
I know what you're talking about.
yeah.
And those are the property and responsibility of the homeowners.
You've been close to the,
Close to
yeah.
the green.
the ones close to the trail.
Oh, I don't know. About that.
Yeah.
I know the ones on like Gugas Parkway and all that.
Yeah, I get the sense that those.
Oh, you're talking Third Street. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
way off.
yeah.
Yeah, I was talking about trail
I
out.
was thinking.
Let's try it.
Yeah.
Do you guys live out there?
Yeah,
Yeah, if you don't mind, go Connect.
I'll show you how to do it
Yeah,
when you get
okay.
afterwards.
thank
Take it 30 seconds.
There's we have on Monterey, or church, I'm sorry, church and near my house. There is an addition, housing addition, and some of the owners of the homes around there approached me and asked me to get involved. I got involved a little bit. And you can see that there's three, instead of two, now there's three different addresses. And the people that are living in that group of ADUs there are not being very friendly to the neighborhood as far as maintaining the neighborhood. It's basically looking like homeless pigsty. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. But it's to keep their garbage out in front of the thing. So I was told that they asked a quality of like officer or somebody or code officer come by. I don't know if that ever happened. But what can these people do to get the city involved in addressing this issue for their neighborhood?
I'll try that. Hold on. So what he's saying, a house in his neighborhood, it's had an ADU built in the backyard.
In the
Right.
backyard.
Is it a corner lot?
It's a corner.
Yeah, so a corner lot, ADU is built in the backyard, presumably legally, presumably. I'll say that for a moment. And so I think there might be two issues, right? There's an ADU, which is, if it's done legally, then it's not illegal, but they're also bad neighbors. They're bad neighbors, right?
Exactly.
And you feel like there's some code enforcement stuff.
Well, that's what.
Going on.
they're-
Yeah, so you have a right. I mean, again, I'm not sure if I can get you to go to Guri Connect, but there's a category for it. And if you can't, then I would, you know, yeah, find someone who can help you and do that, because that's where you're gonna get the response, and that's when you're gonna get the timestamp of when someone's gonna get back to you and get an answer.
And the major concern is we have a city council person that wants 100, 200 of these ADUs
Yeah,
on our corners.
yeah.
This should be an example of why we should be very careful.
But you may have two issues, Ron. You may have an ADU thing that you don't like, and I understand, I'm okay with that. But you also might have a bad neighbor, which, nobody's free of a bad neighbor, whether it's an ADU or not, right? I got one who's been there for 25 years. His dog barks all the time. He doesn't care.
I got it.
He doesn't care,
Yeah.
right? And he doesn't have an ADU.
The city knows about the Bible church and they're working on it.
Yeah.
They're working on it. Thanks, Steve. I love it.
But I feel your frustration. I feel your frustration. An inconsiderate bad neighbor is.
Well, my
it
concern is,
tough.
is we love Gilroy.
Yeah.
And we love the culture of Gilroy. And this will, something like this will change the whole culture. Turn us into something we don't want to really be.
So I'll give you some homework, Ron. I can help you download the app, and then when you go home today, you take a picture, you click code enforcement, you write 2 sentences and you hit submit, and it's in the system. That's all it's gonna take.
And then you'll get a message back on, they're working on where they stand on.
And you can comment back.
Yeah, could you come back and say?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do I need to call you or something? And they-
Oh, no, call me.
This is why we got the.
That's the beauty of the
Right.
Then you
Well, I
educate
just
your
want
neighbors.
to say thank you so much for the app. That made me be like, yes, Gilroy is part of the Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
I went
Yeah.
to the app, I'm sharing it, I'm telling people, hey, you can take a picture, you can start, your, task, so they can, and you can, give communication, so. That made me wanna cry, so thank you
Oh,
so
wow.
much, I feel like this is the coolest thing ever have done in a long time. And I just wanna know, is there plans for like marketing to like kind of share, like a tutorial in English and Spanish? And yeah, what's the possibility of that? And it would be nice to have that. I love it. Thank you.
First of all, I like you a lot. But okay, let me tell you a little bit how this is being rolled out. So we're really good right now at the see and click. We're still trying to figure out how to handle the fix. So in the first 30 days of this work, we'll receive 250 service requests. Probably 225 of them are in public works. So they're being overwhelmed. We don't expect that to continue to happen. So we're trying to see how this flows first. And then we're gonna figure out how to communicate it and show people, because if we only get, like, say, one of the 250 is a barking dog, we're not gonna really spend a ton of time in that, but we're learning what people want from us. And so we will have videos, we will have Q&A, FAQs, Spanish, English on how to do this, but we're gonna do it as we're learning. We kind of felt that do it all at once in the beginning would overwhelm ourselves, would overwhelm the residents. I think of it this way, if you put a sidewalk in and nobody uses it, and you see the dirt path going that everybody uses, that's what I was trying to avoid to do, is assume I knew where the sidewalk should go. I'm letting the public kind of show us which way to go. So if somebody says they're slow to get to it, I agree. We're overwhelmed right now, but we're learning, all of our residents are learning. I'm gonna teach Ron here, I'm gonna learn Ron. And we're gonna get better. We have a lot of ideas and plans, and I'm getting a lot of feedback from my council members and some of the public to go out. It's going very, very well. It's gonna take some time for it to go great.
Yeah, it's exciting, and you know, if you need any support with that, they app developers, so they can help, and I'm very excited, and also, you know, bring in the community in this, and that's gonna be awesome. Thank you, and again, like I said, it's patience, these are growing pains, and they're beautiful. That means that we're growing. There's gonna be a better way to connect each other, and I mean, I just wanna like the awareness that let's include for Spanish speakers too. And I'm here to support that. I love that part. Thank you.
Thank you.
Roy.
Thank you.
I listen to council meetings a lot, I watch them, at home or and I'm not here. I know we're not here, but I did not hear some time when the council members of what you said. Yeah, no, I don't think it's the microphones on, and I've been up there and but is there some way that we can work with them, I'm missing some key things.
You're not alone. So I think this is a two-phase. For a while, that it was this mic, right? Because they've been up here, I would see people in the back going, leaning in. We have that problem solved. I think that this mic's working great, this mic's working great. I think as council members, we have to remind ourselves to get closer. I don't think mics are turned off. Perhaps there's an accident occasionally, but I think we need to be closer. Sometimes. I think that's what it is. Especially if you can barely hear us, then. But great, it's a good point. I want to make sure everyone can hear.
I enjoy appreciate
Yeah.
the technology and being able to do that, especially when I'm not able to come or traveling or whatever, but I can.
I've heard from my father about that.
Personally, we got so that's a good to turn mine on all the time. I'll take what you're saying.
It's been last meeting and the meeting before, but.
Yeah, we have to remind ourselves. We need a buddy system. You know, to watch each other. Because the light when it's on, it's a millimeter. It's not bright.
To whoever's running the show, or anybody to be able to come into, like when there's a hot light.
Other questions? Did you?
Yes, first of all, I want to apologize because I can't hear. My hearing aids aren't working and I don't know, but I want to say this is a great idea because at your regular meeting, I got shut down the only time I ever went. And when they had the 3 minute, I didn't know anything about that. But I wanted to bring up two subjects. One was the new fire station. I don't know whether they got the ground or not, but I know they expressed an interest in adding a new fire station and also maybe a police substation. And I was wondering if there was any thought given to building a building that both could occupy. Fire on one side and substation on the other. Whatever the minimum manning was, I don't know anything about that, that's you guys.
Yeah. Fire station, we are hoping to approve the budget for the design and hopefully start construction on the fire station late this year. So that's the fire station. Police station, I don't believe we've had a conversation about a substation within the fire station. So, good idea.
The other thing I was thinking about was the gourmet alley.
Yeah.
We know they spent all that money to do it, and my friends, my family, we all wondered what it was gonna be like.
Yeah.
We saw this and stuff, but there was never any renditions.
Yeah.
To what it was supposed to be like.
Yeah.
And we were wondering, in the summer, they always block off Fifth Street and have that, they wanted to move that to Gourmet Alley.
That's a great idea.
You might.
And you can see it today. Yeah, you can see it today. It's a great idea. Today, there's an event in Gourmet Alley. Wine event today, this afternoon. Yeah, check it out.
You could do it throughout the year because the Chamber of Commerce said bring business that way.
That's the plan.
Christmas time, you could put decorations and maybe you could get choirs from the high school to come down and sing. Cinco de Mayo would be a great time.
That's the idea. That's the idea of Gourmet Alley.
Put it in there.
That is the idea of Gourmet Alley.
Stuff all year long.
Yeah. Question?
Jack Ryan, where we should have a fire station.
right out past Christmas Hill, the fire station, right out Christmas Hill, out Miller. The new roundabout, right in that neighborhood on that ground. In the dirt,
That's what I.
you got it. Doug, did you hear that? Yeah. Yeah. Tom,
It's my understanding that there are approximately 40 applications for builders remedy projects within unincorporated Seneca County. One of which is owned by UNFI, very large project. If they build that project, will the city be required to provide services, and how do we get reimbursed?
take it away.
That might be the best question that I don't have a lot of answers for, but this is fascinating. So we have builders remedy projects all around, so we're getting requests to serve. Well, for decades, LAFCO has said you are not able to serve any properties outside of your urban service area. Well, now, some people are arguing that SB 330 or whatever says we have to. So we're trying to figure out who's right and who's wrong. But we just adopted 10-year master plans that are incorporating all of our growth within our USA. And so if we get a new development or several of them outside of the city, and we are required then to provide services, well, I don't know how you can legally make a city do it outside of the boundary. Who's gonna pay for all that? And are the developers willing to go back and updo the master plans because of these big developments? It's the Wild West, and LAFCO, I don't think really knows what their role is either right now, because it's in conflict with what they're getting from the state, and so we're being very careful not to automatically reject these projects, because we don't know if the state will later say, no, you have to do this. You're figuring out as you're going, and I don't know.
LAFCO just shot us down on it.
Yes, one of the properties that is now asking us to serve them was one that LAFCO said a month ago, maybe a year ago, no, this is urban sprawl.
Crazy.
The irony is.
The irony, yeah.
The last goes down the crossroads.
LAFCO says you must build up.
Yep.
Talk about sprawl.
But builder's remedy says you can build wherever you want,
Yeah.
so somebody's gonna have to figure something out, probably in for.
1 second. You have another.
Yes, well, I wanted to check in with you about what the possibilities for the pop-up park that is on Monterey and 7th. To build like an outdoor stage, just because I see that there's a lot of potential. The trees are there temporary, the attachment is gone, I mean, the metal rods are coming out of the floor, kids are kind of like tripping on those. So for me, just because I work really close to the area, the art center is right next door. And we can only put like 49 people in that space, so I'm thinking bring the entertainment outside. Kids want to have open mic nights. I see a lot of potential. So I know we're talking about big buildings, big construction. I just wanna know how much it will take to build an outdoor stage for theater, community production.
Sounds good, run with it.
Huh?
Sounds good, run with it.
All right.
If you wanna run with the idea, run with it,
Okay,
right? I mean, that's how it works, right?
Can I
If
say
there's a
something?
citizen that wants to do something,
yeah.
start building a consensus
Uh-huh.
with council members and staff members, see if it works and run with it.
I believe, Councilman. Sorry, yeah, Councilman Dion, he actually was instrumental in that part, and he had it in, the greater.
Novel, creative.
Yeah, and, thanks for everything you did on that, that was awesome. But, so anyway, I'm sure if you wanna have some ideas, contact the something that you want. And you will back to, consider what you want.
Little parts of that's me. No, not in looking at it.
I would give you a little bit of history about that park. You know who designed that park? That guy. That, and a little bit of me. And we have apologized for years. We are not park designers. It shows. So every time I get criticized, I just have to laugh because they said they wanted a pop-up park. Nobody really took any kind of like. We just threw some stuff out there, okay? So we did it. It was, but he did most of it. I know, I had to. So what we did is we just put 2 trees out there, some benches, and said, this is something our Parks and Rec Commission should look at and come up with recommendations. So Bryce, I believe that's on their work plan, isn't it?
Look, Donald was a performer, the idea of a little stage, it's not absurd.
Yeah.
So.
Can we put a statue of Bryce out there?
We're gonna name it the Bryce Atkins Park, add Donald create a little property or whatever, but no, seriously. We just did it kind of to get something out there, but we don't know what we're doing. And I don't think I can tell, we've admitted.
No, I love it. I love that space, and even when I look in the Google map, it's called Panchita Field. Which I've been like checking Panchita Field. Which I love it, honestly, I love it. And I even went to the historical, in Roy and be like, what is this information? Why Panchita Field? Why?
Yeah.
But I love it, but again, I guess I really love that space. I've seen it. I have my youth from Digital Nest had an event there. They activated it. They have been painting, rock painted, and it was nice to people, families walking by and stopping and create some art. So.
The day that the last year when the arts did their awards and they had the raised platform temporary in front of the theater, it's cool. The screen,
Yeah.
it's cool.
And see, we run out that balloon from the neon exchange,
it's
make
cool.
it happen in 10 minutes, so.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Are they still on what housing?
So the question is Glen Loma Ranch complete?
It, they are done with the planning. They, I believe, have all their, plans approved to finish their part of the project. So the simple answer is no, but I think they will be done in the next probably 24 to 36 months. It's a smaller scale project than what was originally intended. And that's why the fire station is moving forward, because they, we entered a settlement with them to get the funds for the fire station. We approved their maps to let them finish their project, and I think they're on their way.
Another one.
The city decided or some way they're gonna come up with some extra funds. I know when Measure C was on. I thought it was packed, I was for, you were against the tobacco. But you said you wanted the sunset. And we were wondering, well, if you have a tax, you use that tax for 10 years or whatever to hire all these people, and then the tax comes to an end. What do you do with all the people you got hired?
Well, hopefully you put yourself in a position.
Sources have we considered? I mean,
Hopefully
the
that,
sales tax was such a small amount, and it was not on food, which is probably your biggest expense.
well, there are no sales tax on foods, you're right. So hopefully, if you do put a sales tax in place, that gives you time to put other programs in place, hopefully economic development and things like that, that you will be in a better position to fund public safety when your tax sunsets. But you're right, we don't have that tax and we don't have that revenue. And it's a challenge, it's still a challenge.
Is there a standing committee in the council or in the city to bring more industry in the city instead of us becoming a bedroom community?
Yeah, great comment. We are in the process right now, what we call the strategic plan session. In fact, on Monday, right here, open to the public, we're going to continue the conversation about economic development. So I believe that this council, I don't know that I call it a standing committee on bringing industry, but we have a lot of ideas and thoughts on how to improve economic activity in our area, so we have a higher tax base for those services.
Who was that, within the paper, it said you would favor a Monterey Road corridor, so what's that supposed to be?
I don't know. Monterey Road corridor?
It's in the, probably that Gilroy line paper.
Yeah, that one doesn't ring a bell to me, sorry.
How's our sales tax revenue and our property tax revenue?
Maybe it's in there.
Sales tax is holding steady, but not growing as fast as we had hoped. And that's reflected in our 5-year financial forecast that the council has to work with. Property tax is stable. It continues to perform just as we expected. That is the nice thing about in California and Santa Clara County. Very rarely do property taxes go down. It has happened. It has happened.
Even despite all this.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah, still, you're still talking about a housing shortage. And so the median value still stays up there, still grows. And so,
Very good.
yeah.
Jody,
What about the two builders revenues that we have here in Joyce? What has happened with that?
not much, I mean, really, we're still in closed session. Is that correct, the correct word about one of the builder's remedies? Right, so we're still technically in a lawsuit.
Yep.
Right, so we're technically getting a lawsuit on one that we're all very familiar with. And the second one, how would you classify that? If,
So, they just have such a different approach than the other one. And so they're not really moving, I would say, forward fast, expeditiously. But they're just plodding along. So I really don't have an update on that one either.
What is the reason for the lawsuit with the one that we have? What do they want to do that we don't want them to do?
oh man,
Is there?
no way I'm going down that path. I am the wrong person to ask, but he asked me about the lawsuit.
Yeah, well, that's.
I will
what's
mess this
wrong
up
with it.
so fast.
But what is it, what is our concern? You know, is it because of, they're not gonna, pay for the services that normally get?
We really don't understand it either because we didn't turn them down. We just told them they have to do it right. They're lawsuit, right, Jimmy?
So
Pretty good way to describe it.
That's because some people think that, when they talk to a certain person on that side, everything seems to be okay. Even some of the people that on the city council seem to think that. So I'm kind of in a quandary myself, wondering, is this really a bad thing or a good thing and why?
Yeah, Bill.
I mean, I don't want to get into a discussion on what's going on with builders remedies, but I don't know what the two of them are. Would you mind sharing that?
Yeah.
Want to try?
Well, sure, I'll give it a shot. So there's two, what Johnny brought up is that there's two projects in Gilroy that are considered builder's remedy. There are some folks that would disagree on if one's a builder's remedy or not, or the other, right? So two projects. One of them is out on Murray and Los Alamos. So that would be Leavesley to Black Bear Diner, turn left, go north, get out there to open field. And there's a proposed project of about a 500 unit apartment complex townhouse that's in an area currently not zoned for housing. And this is how you get into these debates about where is housing available and possible to build. That's a real basic explanation.
That's the one on the lawsuit, right?
Sure, and that one is under the lawsuit.
Yeah, I'm just trying to locate.
Sure.
Where these
The
are.
other one, the second one that Joni is referring to, there's a piece of property out on Hecker Pass Road. When you get out to the Hoey Red Barn area, picture that area out there, that piece of property out there is not zoned for housing. It's zoned for agritourism. I believe that's the correct word. And so therefore, as far as the city is concerned, right now, that's ag tourism.
Okay,
That's the project, the property, the project that fell through.
I don't know that they would
South
consider.
side of the road, west of the roundabout.
Yes, yeah. I don't know that some people would have called that have fallen through. I think they're just in their application process. And the city.
No, there was a project before that was supposed to be shops and livable.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. A few years ago, yeah. So what Jack's referring to is out by the Red Barn. There was gonna be a project out there before that was ag tourism that had wine, deli, coffee, cookies with some what they call live work, some small housing on top, and that's the one that fell through. Thank you very much.
That property.
Yeah, right around there. Yeah, I think it's that property and a little more. I hope I answered the questions.
But
like
the issue is it's contrary to current zoning,
Exactly.
and they're trying to get in
Yeah.
under this approved housing
Yeah.
plan element.
Great points. So what Jack said is the issue is, but it's this is a simplification. It's contrary to the current zoning. Which so is how many other builders remedy applications, Santa Clara County, somebody said it. 40, right? So all 40 of those applications are contrary to the current zoning. That's the conundrum that we're in California, not just Gilroy. So I'm on
4 in our area.
4 in our area. City of Saratoga, 20 inside the city limits. So it's not unique to Gilroy.
Gil has 10.
10, right?
And the mayor there, Brent, has, their city council has agreed with builders friendly there. So we're finding they're not.
Saratoga, I believe all 20. They're gonna,
Right?
no, Bill. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a little confused. So the two that you mentioned, one wasn't the Red Avenue. The Red one.
That's in the county.
That's the county.
County, yeah,
Okay.
right next to the boundary line, Gilroy.
We're talking 315 Osanos is the one on the north.
Do they have to go through LAFCO when they do in the county?
That is the question that he was asking he was saying earlier. What's the role of LAFCO here?
Well,
What's the?
LAFCO is a solid no.
What? Yeah, that's what's interesting.
I'm hoping you're.
Well, I think a lot of people are wondering what is gonna be the value of LAFCO going forward if the state is taking over what you do with land use and.
For our governor to do something about that.
What's the formula for property tax? I mean, how do they figure out how much comes back to the cities when it's collected?
All right, here's the finance man right here.
When you said the formula, I was like, I don't have enough years left in my life to explain the formula. But the state determines the allocation of those property taxes, and the majority of property taxes, 55–60% go to schools.
So we don't get much.
Yeah, we get 14% of the property tax.
14% makes it.
So every dollar property tax you pay, 14 cents comes back to the city.
And sales tax is about 1%, right?
Yeah, 1% of 9 point.
Right.
9 to 4.
It's like,
Great.
So for next month,
That'd be a good one.
yeah,
You get Sharon in here and.
Yeah.
thank you for the next topic.
That's a good-
That's a very, very long conversation. And now that it's 10:32, I can't wait to go to the wine stroll. To see the new barriers and the gourmet alley. Yeah.
If you'd like to stay over and I'll show you the app and everything, I'd be happy to. As long as.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Appreciate it. Great questions. Great. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. Out of the app store. Yeah. Right.
You can do it on the website, but you go to the app store.
I do a little now.
Thank you.